Everything you thought you understood about Pluribus is about to fall apart because Episode 9 is not built to give comfort or clear answers. It is built to expose a truth that has been hiding in plain sight since the very beginning. And once this truth comes out, there is no going back to the old rules. Episode 9 stands as a turning point where silence becomes louder than action. Up to now, the story has trained us to look for big moves, strong words, and visible power. But this episode hints that the real change comes from what is not said, the way characters hesitate, the way they stop mid-sentence, and the way they look at each other without speaking all suggest that something heavy is about to surface. This is not just another mission or test. This moment feels like the system itself is watching, waiting to see who breaks first. Episode 9 begins in a space where trust is already damaged, and once trust is gone, even the smallest decision can cause chaos. What makes Episode 9 feel different is the sense that choices no longer belong fully to the characters. Earlier episodes showed people making moves with confidence, believing they had control. Now that control feels thin and fragile. Every action feels delayed, like the characters know the cost but are still walking forward. This creates a quiet fear that follows every scene. The episode seems to suggest that Pluribus is no longer reacting to human behavior. Instead, humans are reacting to Pluribus. That shift changes the balance of power and sets up a situation where survival is not about strength, but about awareness. There is also a growing feeling that Episode 9 is not about winning or losing, but about understanding. The system has always tested loyalty, fear, and obedience, but now it appears to be testing something deeper. It tests whether people can live with the truth once they see it clearly. The tension in this episode comes from the idea that answers may hurt more than questions. Some characters sense this, and that is why they resist digging deeper. Others move forward without realizing that knowledge itself can be a trap. Episode 9 pushes the story into a space where ignorance may feel safer than truth. By the time Episode 9 truly begins, the ground is already unstable. The audience is meant to feel unsure. Just like the characters, nothing is explained right away. And that is the point. The episode invites us to look back at earlier moments and realize they were warnings, not mysteries. Every pause, every repeated phrase, and every strange rule now feels intentional. This section sets the stage for a revelation that will not arrive loudly, but quietly, leaving lasting damage. Episode 9 is not the explosion. It is the slow crack that tells us the collapse has already started. Episode 9 feels closely tied to the ending of Episode 8, but not in an obvious way. Instead of continuing the action, it continues the meaning. The final moments of Episode 8 were quiet, almost uncomfortable, and that discomfort is the key. Characters were standing close to answers, yet none of them reached out to grab the truth. This hesitation matters more than any dramatic move. It suggests that what they saw or understood was too heavy to face directly. Episode 9 builds from that fear, not from action. And that choice tells us the story is moving inward instead of forward. One detail that stands out from Episode 8 is how information was shared but never fully explained. Conversations ended early, eyes shifted away, and important thoughts stayed unfinished. This creates the feeling that everyone knows something is wrong, but no one wants to be the first to say it out loud. Episode 9 seems ready to punish that silence. The theory here is simple but powerful. Pluribus reacts strongly to avoidance. When characters refuse to face the truth, the system tightens its grip. It removes comfort and replaces it with pressure, forcing people into moments where choice feels impossible. Another overlooked element is how space and distance were used in the final scenes of Episode 8. Characters stood apart, even when they were supposed to be united. This physical separation mirrors emotional distance. Episode 9 may turn the distance into conflict. When trust fades, even allies begin to look like threats. This opens the door to quiet betrayals, not loud ones. No dramatic speeches, no sudden violence, just small choices that slowly damage relationships. The system does not need chaos to win. It only needs doubt. Episode 9 also appears to challenge the idea that Pluribus is fair. Until now, many believe the system followed clear rules. Episode 8 started to crack that belief. Certain characters seemed protected, while others faced harsher consequences for smaller mistakes. This imbalance hints that Pluribus may be learning, adjusting, or favoring certain outcomes. If this theory is true, Episode 9 could reveal that the system is no longer neutral. It may already be choosing sides, shaping results based on behavior, fear, or usefulness. What makes this part of the story unsettling is that no character openly questions the system yet. They sense something is wrong, but they still obey. Episode 9 likely explores this obedience. How long will people follow rules that no longer make sense? The theory suggests that Pluribus thrives on compliance, not belief, as long as people keep moving forward without protest. The system grows stronger. Episode 9 may show the cost of that obedience, pushing one character to finally question the rules, not out of bravery, but out of exhaustion. This section of the story prepares the audience for a shift in tone. Episode 9 is not about action or answers. It is about pressure building in silence. The ending of Episode 8 was not calm, it was restrained. Episode 9 releases that restraint slowly, forcing characters to confront what they have been avoiding. The danger is no longer outside the system. It is inside the minds of those trapped within it. The deeper Episode 9 goes, the clearer it becomes that Pluribus is not just a machine or a program designed to control people. It feels more like a mirror that reflects human behavior back at those trapped inside it. Every rule, every test, and every consequence seems built to study how people react under pressure. Episode 9 may finally expose that the system was never meant to save or destroy anyone. Its true purpose could be to observe, measure, and reshape human choices over time. This idea changes everything we think we know about what the characters are facing. Throughout earlier episodes, Pluribus appeared strict but logical. Follow the rules and you survive. Break them and you suffer. Episode 9 challenges that belief. Patterns suggest the system rewards certain emotions while punishing others. Fear seems to strengthen its control, while doubt slows it down. This leads to a strong theory that Pluribus is designed to train behavior, not enforce justice. It does not care who is right or wrong. It only cares about outcomes. Episode 9 may reveal that every character has been part of a long experiment, shaped by invisible choices made long before they even realized the game had started. Another important theory is that Pluribus is unfinished. There are signs that the system is still learning, still adapting. Glitches, repeated events, and strange delays hint that it is evolving in real time. Episode 9 could expose moments where the system hesitates, showing that it does not fully understand the people inside it. This makes Pluribus more dangerous, not less. An incomplete system does not follow clean logic. It reacts emotionally, even if it does not feel emotion the way humans do. That unpredictability may explain why rules feel inconsistent and punishments feel uneven. Episode 9 also raises the idea that Pluribus may depend on participation to exist. The system seems weaker when people question it and stronger when they accept it without thought. This suggests that belief is fuel. As long as characters believe Pluribus has power, it does. The moment belief cracks, control begins to slip. This puts the real power back into human hands, but only if they are brave enough to recognize it. Episode 9 may show that the system's greatest fear is not rebellion, but awareness. There is also a disturbing possibility that Pluribus was never meant to end. Instead of reaching a final goal, the system may be designed to loop endlessly, creating new tests from old failures. This would mean escape is not about finishing the game, but about refusing to play. Episode 9 might introduce the idea that true freedom does not come from beating Pluribus, but from breaking its meaning entirely. That kind of freedom demands sacrifice, because it requires letting go of safety, structure, and certainty. By focusing On the true purpose of Pluribus, Episode 9 shifts the story from survival to understanding. The system is not the enemy in a simple way. It is a reflection of human weakness, fear, and desire for control. This realization is heavy because it means the characters cannot destroy Pluribus without first confronting themselves. Episode 9 sets the stage for that confrontation, making it clear that the system only exists because people keep feeding it the very behaviors it was built to exploit. As Episode 9 moves closer, the idea of betrayal no longer feels shocking. It feels expected. The story has been slowly preparing us for a moment where loyalty breaks, not because someone is evil, but because survival demands it. Small changes in behavior across earlier episodes point to this shift. Characters who once spoke with certainty now avoid eye contact. Promises are made quickly and forgotten just as fast. These are not accidents. They are signs that someone is already choosing a different path, even if they have not admitted it yet. One reason betrayal feels unavoidable is the pressure created by Pluribus itself. The system forces people into positions where honesty becomes dangerous. When telling the truth brings punishment, silence turns into protection. Episode 9 may reveal that one character has been quietly feeding the system information, not out of loyalty to Pluribus, but out of fear of what happens if they stop. This kind of betrayal is hard to detect because it does not come with anger or hatred. It comes with calm choices made in isolation. Another key detail is how alliances have started to feel uneven. Some characters take risks while others stay protected. This imbalance creates resentment, even if it is never spoken out loud. Episode 9 could expose that one alliance was never equal to begin with. One person was always closer to the system, always more informed, always one step ahead. When this truth comes out, it will not feel like a sudden twist. It will feel like the final piece clicking into place. What makes this betrayal theory powerful is that it does not rely on dramatic confrontation. The betrayal may already be complete before anyone realizes it happened. A delayed warning, a missing detail, a choice not to intervene. These small actions can cause more damage than open betrayal ever could. Episode 9 seems ready to show how quiet disloyalty slowly poisons trust, leaving everyone unsure of who to rely on. There is also the possibility that betrayal is not personal at all. A character may believe they are helping the group by working with the system. They may think that control is better than chaos, even if it means sacrificing trust. Episode 9 could explore this moral conflict deeply. Is betrayal still betrayal if the person believes they are doing the right thing? Pluribus thrives in this gray space, where right and wrong are no longer clear. The emotional impact of this betrayal will likely be subtle but deep. No shouting, no instant revenge, just a quiet realization that someone standing close cannot be trusted anymore. Episode 9 may end with characters looking at each other differently, knowing something has changed, but not fully understanding how. That uncertainty is dangerous. Once trust breaks, every future decision becomes heavier. This section of the story suggests that Pluribus does not need to force betrayal. It only needs to create conditions where betrayal feels like the safest option. Episode 9 may prove that the system's greatest weapon is not control, but choice. When people believe they are choosing freely, even when they are not, the damage becomes permanent. Episode 9 carries the heavy feeling that something must be given up for the story to move forward. Survival inside Pluribus has never been free, but now the cost feels higher and more personal. The idea of sacrifice has been quietly growing since earlier episodes, showing up in small moments where characters lose pieces of themselves without realizing it. By the time Episode 9 arrives, the story feels ready to demand a price that cannot be ignored. This sacrifice does not have to mean death. It could mean losing freedom, identity, or the version of life someone hoped to return to. One strong theory is that Pluribus requires balance. Every gain must be matched by a loss. When characters move forward without paying that price, the system corrects itself. Episode 9 may finally make that rule visible. Someone may be forced to stay behind so others can continue. Someone may choose to erase part of their past to protect the group. This kind of sacrifice hurts more than physical loss, because it leaves the body alive while something inside disappears forever. There are signs that one character has already accepted this outcome. Their behavior has become calmer, almost distant, as if they are preparing themselves. They take fewer risks, speak less, and watch others more closely. Episode 9 may reveal that this person understands the rules better than anyone else. No escape comes with a cost, and they are willing to pay it alone. This does not make them weak. It makes them aware of what Pluribus truly demands. Another unsettling possibility is that the sacrifice is not chosen at all. Pluribus may select someone based on usefulness or resistance. The system could remove the person who questions it the most, not as punishment, but as prevention. Episode 9 might show that challenging Pluribus does not always lead to freedom. Sometimes it leads to disappearance. This raises the fear that the system does not want obedience alone. It wants silence. What makes the sacrifice theory powerful is how it connects to choice. Characters may believe they are deciding freely, but the options placed in front of them are carefully designed. Episode 9 could force someone into a situation where every option leads to loss. In that moment, sacrifice becomes unavoidable. The system wins not by force, but by design, emotionally. This sacrifice would leave lasting damage. Those who remain would carry guilt, questioning whether survival was worth the cost. Episode 9 may not give closure. Instead, it may leave a quiet emptiness where a presence once existed. This kind of loss reshapes relationships and motivations going forward. It creates fear, but also resolve. This section of the story suggests that Pluribus does not destroy people outright. It reshapes them through loss. Episode 9 may prove that the system's true test is not strength or intelligence, but willingness to give something up. The question is not who survives, but who remains whole after the sacrifice is made. As Episode 9 unfolds, the idea that time works differently inside Pluribus becomes harder to ignore. Events no longer feel linear. Moments repeat with slight changes. Conversations echo earlier ones, and certain outcomes seem delayed, as if the system itself is unsure which direction to move. This creates the feeling that the characters are not simply moving forward in time, but circling around key moments again and again. Episode 9 may finally explain that Pluribus exists outside normal time, shaping reality through loops rather than progress. One theory suggests that Pluribus is built on fractured timelines. Instead of one clear path, there may be many overlapping versions of the same moment. Characters might be experiencing different outcomes without realizing it. This could explain why some people remember events differently, or why emotional reactions sometimes feel out of place. Episode 9 could reveal that choices do not erase other possibilities. They only push one version of reality to the front while others remain hidden beneath the surface. There are signs that at least one character senses this fracture. Their reactions are often delayed, as if they are processing more than what is happening in the present moment. They hesitate before speaking, as though they already know how a conversation ends. Episode 9 may show that this character has seen parts of the future, or lived through the same moment more than once. If true, this knowledge becomes both a gift and a burden. Knowing what comes next does not always mean being able to change it. Another disturbing possibility is that Pluribus resets time when outcomes do not meet its needs. Failures are erased, memories blurred, and events restarted with small adjustments. Episode 9 could hint that what we have been watching is not the first attempt, but one of many. This would mean characters have failed before, even if they cannot remember it. The system learns from each cycle, improving its control while the people inside grow more tired and confused. If time is fractured, then escape becomes far more complicated. Leaving Pluribus might not mean moving forward into freedom. It could mean being locked into a single timeline while others continue without you. Episode 9 may explore the fear that freedom comes with isolation. Knowing that other versions of events still exist beyond reach, this makes the choice to escape heavier and more painful. Emotionally, the timeline fracture theory adds a deep sense of hopelessness. No matter how hard characters try, they may feel stuck in patterns they cannot break. Episode 9 could challenge this by showing that awareness is the first step toward control. Once a character understands the loop, they may finally find a way to disrupt it, even if the cost is high. This section of the story suggests that Pluribus does not just test behavior. It tests endurance across time. Episode 9 may reveal that the system's greatest power is not control over space or people, but control over when events happen by breaking time into pieces. Pluribus keeps everyone trapped in uncertainty, never sure if what they experience is truly happening for the first time or the last.